Greg Mortenson was born in 1957 in Minnesota. At the age of 3 months, his family moved to Tanzania, where his parents were Lutheran missionaries. Living on the slopes of the mountains of Tanzania, Greg grew to love the climbing lifestyle. At the age of 15, he and his family returned to Minnesota, where he attended high school. After high school, Greg didn't have the money to attend college, so he went into the Army as a medic. Greg attended Concordia College on a football scholarship and eventually graduated from the University of South Dakota with a nursing degree. The call of the mountains was in his blood. He continued to pursue various climbing adventures. He is married to Tara Bishop, and they have 2 children, Amira and Kyber. Greg is a professional speaker and has authored or co-authored 3 books. The best known of these are 3 Cups of Tea and Stones into Schools. Author, humanitarian, professional speaker, and adventurer. Certainly sounds like an all-around great guy. In honor of his late sister, Greg attempted to climb the world's 2nd tallest mountain, K2. Following his failed attempt to climb K2, Mortenson claims that after being separated from his team and injured from the cold, he stumbled into Corfe, a small village in Pakistan. The village nursed him back to health. When Mortenson was feeling better, he went outside and saw 84 children sitting in the dirt during their school lessons. He was asked if he could help build them a school. And in 1993, he made the rash promise that he would come back and build a school. This promise became his life's work, the Central Asia Institute, which builds and outfits schools in Pakistan and Afghanistan. The Institute's mission appeals to so many people that even former President Obama has donated. For a time, Greg's book, 3 Cups of Tea, was required reading for troops deploying to Afghanistan. Greg's story was the subject of a 2011 investigation by 60 Minutes into how the nonprofit spends its money and the true effects of his work. In the piece, John Krakauer, a best-selling author and one of Mortenson's first backers, claims that Mortenson's story was a lie. John Krakauer had written a book titled 3 Cups of Deceit, which questioned many of Mortenson's claims in 3 Cups of Tea. During John Krakauer's 2011 interview on 60 Minutes, he claims that the donors were defrauded by Mortenson.
In 2002, his board treasurer resigned along with the board president and 2 other board members and said, "You should stop giving money to Greg."
Did he say why?
He said in so many words that Greg uses Central Asia Institute as his private ATM machine, that there's no accounting, he has no receipts.
Over the years, a half a dozen staffers and board members have resigned over similar concerns, especially about money Mortenson has sent overseas to build schools.
You know, nobody is overseeing what goes on.
And that Mortenson's claims of numbers of schools were inflated.
He doesn't know how many schools he's built. Nobody knows how much these schools cost.
The IRS tax return Central Asia Institute filed last year included a list of 141 schools that it claimed to have built or supported in Pakistan and Afghanistan. Over the past 6 months, we visited or looked into nearly 30 of them. Some were performing well, but roughly half were empty, built by somebody else, or not receiving support at all.
However, John Krakauer's claims are tempered somewhat by the end of the 60-minute interview.
He's not Bernie Madoff. I mean, let's be clear. He has done a lot of good. He has helped thousands of school kids in Pakistan and Afghanistan. He has become perhaps the world's most effective spokesperson for girls' education in developing countries, and he deserves credit for that. Nevertheless, he is now threatening to bring it all down, to destroy all of it by this fraud and by these lies.
In 2012, the Montana Attorney General completed an investigation of Mortenson and his charity. After the investigation, the Attorney General didn't find Greg Mortenson guilty of any criminal wrongdoing, but did order Mortenson to pay $1.2 million in restitution, including $214,000 to Central Asia Institute for personal purchases. But the 60-minute piece isn't the only story about Greg Mortenson. 3,000 Cups of Tea is a film made by Jennifer Jordan and Jeff Rhodes to find out if the Greg's book and the Central Asia Institute claims about schools are true. The filmmakers went to Corfe.
And once on the ground in that tiny village at the end of the road, we learned that every villager we spoke to remembered Greg from 20 years before. We even found the men who were then boys playing on the riverbank, and they saw Greg coming over the bridge, stumbling out of the mountains. But you know what no villager remembered? Was 60 Minutes, coming in and asking them firsthand about Greg.
While I've only seen parts of the film, I hope its premises are true.
The amazing thing is that Greg is still Greg, and his mission of educating girls in some of the most remote and dangerous parts of the world thrives.
Butter's good, Shabash.
So the good news is the schools exist. Girls and boys are graduating every day with educations that they wouldn't have otherwise had without the Central Asia Institute and Greg Mortenson on the ground.
In an interview with NBC, Greg Mortenson said, "I let a lot of people down." Regarding John Krakauer's allegations, as well as the 60 Minutes segment, Mortenson says he is thankful it happened and it pushed him to do better. Today, Greg Mortenson is the director emeritus of the Central Asia Institute and spends time in Bozeman, Montana with his family. I will let you decide if he is a hero or a goat, as I see him as both.